The colony on planet Terminus stood as humanity's greatest achievement, a thriving settlement of 5,000 souls on a distant world 14 light-years from Earth. After decades of preparation, humans had finally established their foothold among the stars. Dr. Hae-Jin Park moved through the command center's morning bustle, sipping her coffee as she reviewed overnight reports. 3 years as colony director had taught her to appreciate these quiet moments before the day's problems began. "Anything unusual, Lieutenant Kim?" she asked, pausing beside the sensor station. Kim shook his head, eyes fixed on his screens. "Just the usual stellar activity, Director. The mining team reports good progress in the Eastern Quadrant." Hae-Jin nodded, satisfied. Terminus had proven ideal for human settlement. Breathable atmosphere after minimal terraforming, abundant minerals, and no native sentient life. The colony was even ahead of schedule on their development goals. "Director," Kim said suddenly, his voice sharpening, "I'm detecting objects approaching from Sector 7. Hae-Jin set down her coffee. "Meteoroids?" "No, ma'am." "There?" Kim's fingers danced across the console. "They're ships. Artificial vessels moving at sublight speed." The command center fell silent. First contact. After centuries of searching the stars, humanity would finally meet another intelligent species. "Initiate first contact protocols," Hae-Jin ordered, her heart racing despite her calm exterior. "Send the greeting package on all frequencies. Alert Earth Command immediately." The staff hurried to comply, faces showing a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Hae-Jin watched the main display as 6 sleek, crescent-shaped vessels approached Terminus. Their design was unlike anything in human engineering, smooth, almost organic in appearance. "No response to our signals, Director," Communications Officer Lee reported. Hae-Jin frowned. "Keep trying. Perhaps they communicate differently." "Energy spike," Kim shouted. "The lead vessel is." A brilliant beam of blue-white energy lanced from the foremost alien ship, striking the colony's protective shields. The command center trembled as power fluctuated. "Shields at 80%. Security Chief Wong called out. That was a directed energy weapon. Hae-Jin gripped the command rail. "This can't be happening. We've done nothing hostile." Another blast hit, stronger than the first. Warning klaxons blared throughout the colony. "Shields at 60% and failing." Wong reported. "These aren't warning shots. They're trying to break through." Hae-Jin rushed to the communication station. "This is Director Park to approaching vessels. We are a peaceful settlement. Please cease hostilities immediately." Only silence answered as a third blast rocked the colony, sending sparks flying from several consoles. "Director, we need to evacuate," Wong urged. "No time," Hae-Jin replied grimly. "Activate defense systems. Target their weapons only." The colony's modest defense turrets powered up, firing concentrated pulses at the alien ships. The blasts merely dissipated against invisible barriers around the vessels. "They have advanced shielding technology," Kim reported. "Our weapons are ineffective." Another devastating blast hit. The main lights failed, plunging the command center into the red glow of emergency lighting. "Shields critical," Wong shouted. "One more hit and they're down." Hae-Jin made her decision. "Begin emergency evacuation procedures. Get everyone to the shelters." She turned to communications. "Officer Lee, prepare the quantum transmitter. We need to get a message to Earth." As the staff rushed to comply, Hae-Jin recorded what might be humanity's final warning. "This is Terminus Colony to Earth Command. We are under attack by unknown alien forces. I repeat, first contact has been made. And it's hostile. They've." The final blast knocked her off her feet as the command center erupted in explosions. Systems failed in cascading patterns as the colony's infrastructure collapsed. Above the dying colony, Commander Dae-sung of the Kelvary Imperium observed the assault from his flagship's command deck. His tall, slender form remained perfectly still as reports of the attack's progress streamed in. "Their defenses have failed, Commander," his second-in-command reported. "Their primitive weapons caused no damage to our vessels." Dae-sung nodded slightly. "As expected, these humans possess rudimentary space travel, but nothing that threatens the Imperium. This sector has been claimed by the Kelveri for generations. They should not have settled here." "Shall we begin landing parties to secure the colony?" his officer asked. "No," Dae-sung replied coldly. "Destroy it completely. Leave no evidence of their technology. The Imperium must not appear to consider such primitive beings worthy of preservation." He watched dispassionately as his ships positioned themselves around the crippled human colony. "These humans will be an insignificant conquest. The Emperor will barely note their extinction in the records." As the Kelveri weapons charged for the final bombardment, Dae-sung failed to notice the small burst of quantum energy that escaped the planet. A desperate message traveling faster than light toward Earth. He couldn't have known that this casual act of destruction would awaken a species that, while technologically younger than the Kelveri, had perfected the art of war through thousands of years of fighting their own kind. He couldn't have known he had just started a war with precisely the wrong species. The message arrived on Earth 3 days after Terminus Colony's destruction. Admiral Jeho Yang was awakened at 300 hours by his aide. "Sir, emergency priority Alpha from Deep Space Monitoring. You need to see this immediately." Jeho dressed quickly, his 60-year-old body moving with practiced efficiency despite the early hour. Decades of military service had prepared him for middle-of-the-night emergencies. In the Situation Room beneath Seoul Military Command, 12 grim-faced officials waited. General Min rose as Jeho entered. "Admiral, we've received a partial transmission from Terminus Colony. It's not good." The room darkened as a screen lit up with Dr. Hae-jin Park's final message. Her face showed fear, but also determination as static disrupted the transmission. "This is Terminus Colony to Earth Command. We are under attack by unknown alien forces. I repeat, first contact has been made, and it's hostile. They've..." The message cut off in a burst of static, followed by sensor data showing the attacking vessels before all transmissions ceased. Silence filled the room as the lights returned. 5,000 colonists gone. "The attackers?" Jeho asked, his voice steady despite the shock. "Unknown species," answered Intelligence Director Song. But the data packet contained sensor readings of their ships. Advanced energy weapons, faster-than-light capability, and shield technology beyond our public systems. Jeho noted the word public with interest. "Has the civilian government been informed?" he asked. General Min shook his head. "Not yet. As head of the defense fleet, we needed your input first on our response options." "Response options," echoed Finance Minister Kang. "We're talking about aliens with technology capable of destroying our outpost in minutes. We should be discussing surrender terms." Jeho studied the frozen image of the alien ships. "No, surrender is not an option. These attackers gave no warning, sent no communication. They eliminated our colony without provocation. If we show weakness, Earth will be next." "But our ships are no match," Minister Kang began. "Our public ships," Jeho interrupted. He looked at General Min. "It's time to unveil the Shadow Fleet." Murmurs filled the room. The Shadow Fleet had been Earth's most closely guarded secret for 15 years. Advanced warships built with technology that officially didn't exist. "You can't be serious," Minister Kang protested. "Those ships are experimental. Half their systems haven't been field tested. And they never will be if we wait for the perfect moment," Jeho replied. He straightened his uniform. "I need authorization to deploy immediately. Every hour we delay gives these aliens time to establish stronger positions." 12 hours later, Jeho stood before Earth's United Defense Council in the underground chamber beneath the old United Nations building. 40 representatives from Earth's unified nations listened as he outlined humanity's first interstellar war plan. The Terminus colony has fallen, but not before Dr. Park sent us critical data on the attackers. We now know we face the Kelveri Imperium, a species that has conquered 3 star systems before encountering us. He activated a holographic display showing the alien ships alongside analysis of their capabilities. I propose immediate deployment of the Shadow Fleet. The Kelveri believe us to be technologically inferior. Let's use that misconception. This could mean extinction if we fail, noted the African Union representative. It means certain extinction if we do nothing, Jai-Ho countered. The Shadow Fleet represents our best work: quantum shielding, adaptive AI combat systems, and weaponry that can match or exceed what we've seen from the Kelveri. The vote was 38-2 in favor of deployment. 2 weeks later, Admiral Jai-Ho stood on the bridge of the EDF Vengeance, flagship of humanity's secret fleet. 14 advanced warships prepared to jump to the Terminus system. All ships report ready, Admiral, his second-in-command reported. Jai-Ho nodded. Send fleet-wide. Remember Terminus. Initiate jump. Space folded around the human vessels as they slipped into hyperspace, emerging at the edge of the Terminus system 14 light-years from Earth. Their sensors immediately detected 5 Kelveri vessels orbiting the remains of the human colony. They've established a base, Tactical Officer Yu reported. Minimal defenses deployed. They're not expecting company. Weapons status, Jai-Ho asked. Plasma cannons charge. Quantum torpedoes armed. Jai-Ho took a deep breath. Target their primary vessels. Fire on my mark. He paused, thinking of the 5,000 lives lost. Fire. 14 human warships unleashed hell upon the unsuspecting Kelveri. Advanced weapons tore through alien shields that had never been calibrated to defend against Earth's secret technology. On the Kelveri command ship, Commander Dae-Sung scrambled from his rest period as explosions rocked his vessel. Report, he shouted, rushing to the command deck. Human ships, his second gasped. Multiple vessels with advanced weapons, 3 of our ships already destroyed. Impossible, Dae-Sung muttered. Their colony had primitive defenses. Another blast rocked the ship, sending crew members sprawling. Engines damaged, shields failing, his officer reported. Retreat, Dae-Sung ordered. All surviving ships, emergency jump to Kelveri space. His damaged vessel limped away, barely escaping as 2 more Kelveri ships exploded behind him. They were supposed to be primitives, he whispered, watching the human fleet on his remaining sensors. As his ship prepared for emergency jump, a final message came through. A transmission from the human fleet. This is Admiral Jai-Ho Yang of Earth Defense Forces. Remember Terminus. This is just the beginning. The grand hall of the Kelveri Imperial Palace gleamed with polished stone and precious metals. 12 council members sat at a crescent-shaped table, their long, pale faces turned toward Commander Dae-Sung, who stood in the center of the room. The human counterattack was devastating. Dae-Sung reported, still bandaged from injuries sustained during his escape. They deployed ships with technology far beyond what we observed at their colony. High Admiral Sun Woo rose from his seat, his elaborate uniform marking him as the highest military authority in the Imperium. He was tall even for a Kelveri, his skin a deeper blue than most, marking his pure bloodline. Commander Dae-Sung exaggerates, Sun Woo told the Kelveri Council with a dismissive wave. These humans cannot possibly pose a serious threat. They are newcomers to space travel, barely able to establish a single colony. Emperor Tae-Ho leaned forward on his throne. Unlike the other Kelveri, his eyes were dark and piercing, the result of genetic modifications given only to the ruling line. Then explain our losses, Emperor Tae-Ho demanded, his voice cutting through the murmurs of the council. 5 ships destroyed. A patrol base lost. Explain this, Admiral. Sun Woo bowed slightly. A temporary setback. Your Magnificence. The humans employed surprise and likely devoted all their military resources to this single attack. Their fleet is small and inexperienced. He straightened, chest puffed with confidence. I will lead the Void Hunters personally. We will crush this human resistance within 20 days. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. The Void Hunters are our elite force, reserved for the most dangerous threats, which is precisely why they will end this quickly. Sun Wu replied. The humans must learn the cost of challenging the Imperium. After the council adjourned, Dae Sung hurried to catch up with Sun Wu in the corridor. Admiral, with respect, you're underestimating these humans, he said quietly. Their technology. Sun Wu turned sharply. Their technology is stolen or accidental. They cannot possibly understand the science behind it. You failed in a simple mission, Commander. Now stay out of my way while I correct your mistake. 4 light-years away, aboard the human carrier Intrepid, Dr. Jin Young Lee hunched over a workbench in the science lab. Pieces of salvaged Kelveri technology lay disassembled before her. At 53, Jin Young was Earth's leading expert in quantum physics, pulled from retirement when the war began. Admiral Ji-ho entered the lab. Tell me you have good news, Doctor. Jin Young looked up, pushing her glasses higher on her nose. Better than good. I've figured out how their shields work. She pointed to a crystal component. Their shield configurations are based on static energy fields. If we modulate our weapons to cycle frequencies, we could bypass their defenses, Ji-ho asked. Jin Young nodded. Exactly. Even better, I think we can adapt our phase shift technology to pass partially through their shields. Not just our weapons, entire ships. Admiral Ji-ho examined the diagrams on her screen. How quickly can you implement this? 3 days for the weapons modifications, 5 for the phase shift adaptations. Ji-ho nodded. Make it happen. Priority resources, whatever you need. 3 days later, the human fleet deployed with their newly modified weapons. Instead of confronting the gathering Kelveri forces directly, they split into small strike teams that appeared at the edges of Kelveri territory. Aboard the EDF Phantom, Captain Jun watched her tactical display as they approached a Kelveri communications relay. Weapons ready, Captain, her tactical officer reported. Frequency modulation active. Jun nodded. Target their shield generators and proceed as planned. The human vessel fired. The beam changed frequency 5 times as it passed through the Kelveri shields, appearing as if by magic inside their defenses. The relay's shield generators exploded, leaving the station defenseless. Similar attacks occurred simultaneously across Kelveri space. Human ships phased through Kelveri shields like ghosts, their weapons finding vulnerable hulls. The humans struck supply depots, communication relays, and outposts, never engaging in direct battle against superior numbers. High Admiral Sun Wu's first encounter with the new human tactics came at Outpost Zeta. His Void Hunter squadron, 20 ships strong, responded to a distress call only to find the outpost already destroyed. Scan for human vessels, he ordered. 3 ships detected, Admiral, his sensor officer replied. Small craft, moving away at high speed. Sun Wu smiled coldly. Pursue and destroy. Show them what happens when they face real Kelveri warships. The Void Hunters, pride of the Kelveri fleet, gave chase. The human vessels led them into an asteroid field, weaving between rocks with surprising agility. They're cornered against the large asteroid ahead, Sun Wu's tactical officer reported. Excellent. Full weapons, target. Without warning, 5 more human ships appeared from behind various asteroids, their signatures masked until that moment. They fired in unison, their beams cutting through Kelveri shields like they didn't exist. Impossible. Sun Wu shouted as explosions rocked his flagship. Shields are failing. How are they penetrating our defenses? 3 Void Hunter ships exploded before Sun Wu ordered a retreat. The humans didn't pursue, content with the damage they'd inflicted. Back at the Imperial Palace a week later, Sun Wu's report to the Emperor was much changed from his earlier confidence. The humans have somehow adapted their weapons to bypass our shield frequencies. he admitted, his proud posture now stiff with tension. They refuse traditional battle, using hit-and-run tactics instead. They strike without warning, then disappear before we can mount an effective response. Emperor Taiho's expression darkened. You assured me they would be crushed in 20 days. It has been 12, and I hear only of our losses. Sun Wu swallowed hard. The situation is more complex than anticipated. These humans are highly adaptive, but I have requested reinforcements from the home fleet. We will change our approach. As he left the Emperor's presence, Sun Wu felt a cold dread settling in his stomach. These humans were unlike any enemy the Kelveri had faced before. For the first time in his distinguished career, High Admiral Sun Wu began to wonder if he had made a terrible mistake. A month into the war, the Kelveri Imperial Palace buzzed with tension. The War Council chamber, once a place of calm strategic planning, now felt like a room awaiting bad news. High Admiral Sun Wu stood before the assembled military leaders and the Emperor himself. His uniform, usually immaculate, showed signs of hasty repair. Dark circles under his eyes revealed sleepless nights. The humans employ tactics we've never encountered, Sun Wu admitted, his voice lacking its usual confidence. They refuse to meet our fleets in open battle. They strike and vanish. They adapt to our technology faster than we can counter them. He activated a display showing the latest attacks. In the past week alone, they've destroyed 7 supply convoys, disabled 3 planetary defense systems, and raided 2 research facilities. They're taking our technology and improving upon it. General No, commander of the Imperial Ground Forces, spoke up. Are they so different from other species we've conquered? The Xerasi used guerrilla tactics as well. The Xerasi took years to adapt, Sun Wu countered. These humans make changes in days. We adjust our shield frequencies. They break through the next day. We set traps. They avoid them somehow. Emperor Taiho rose from his seat, silencing the council. He walked slowly to the strategic display, studying the map of human-controlled space. Then we strike their homeworld directly, he said, his voice cold with decision. End this war at its source. Sun Wu looked startled. Your Magnificence, their home system defenses, will be overwhelmed by our full might, the Emperor finished. I am committing the Grand Fleet to this mission. 100 warships, our finest weapons. We will crush their heart in a single blow. The council chamber erupted in activity as the greatest military operation in Kelveri history began taking shape. For 2 weeks, ships gathered, strategies were planned, and attack simulations ran continuously. Meanwhile, in a small, secure lab aboard the human carrier Intrepid, Lieutenant Yoon worked with little sleep. At 29, she was the youngest quantum physicist in the Earth fleet, but her brilliance had caught Admiral Jeho's attention early in the war. It's working, she exclaimed suddenly, startling the other scientists. I've aligned the quantum entanglement matrices with their communication frequencies. Dr. Jin Young hurried over. You're certain? Yoon nodded excitedly. Look at the data stream. It's encrypted, but it's definitely Kelveri communication. We're monitoring their quantum networks in real time. Within hours, human code breakers began deciphering the Kelveri battle plans. Admiral Jeho reviewed the intelligence with growing concern. 100 ships, he said quietly, heading for Earth. General Min shook his head. We have only 30 vessels that could intercept them. The rest are scattered across too much space. Jeho studied the projected course of the Kelveri Armada. They'll pass near the Arcturus system. That's where we make our stand. Arcturus? General Min questioned. The asteroid field. Jeho nodded. Precisely. We need every mining explosive we can gather and every ship that can carry them. I have a plan. For 5 days, human ships worked frantically in the Arcturus asteroid field, attaching small thrusters to selected asteroids and planting powerful explosives inside others. Engineer teams installed stealth generators on the largest rocks, masking human preparations. When the Kelvari Grand Fleet arrived at Arcturus, they found only 8 human warships waiting at the edge of the asteroid field. High Admiral Sunwoo, standing proudly on his flagship's bridge, felt triumph rise in his chest. Finally, they commit to battle. "Sir, those ships are turning away," his tactical officer reported. "They're retreating into the asteroid field." Sunwoo smiled. "They seek to use the asteroids as cover, a predictable tactic." He opened a fleet-wide channel. "All ships pursue the human vessels. Form attack pattern Delta. Do not let them escape." As the massive Kelvari armada moved into the asteroid field, Admiral Jai-Ho watched from the hidden command ship deep within the field. "They've taken the bait," his second-in-command reported. Jai-Ho nodded. "Wait until they're fully committed." The Kelvari ships moved deeper into the field, threading between the larger rocks, still pursuing the small human force that stayed just beyond weapon range. "Now," Jai-Ho ordered. Across the asteroid field, hundreds of previously dormant thrusters ignited. Massive space rocks, some kilometers across, began moving directly toward Kelvari ship formations. At the same time, human vessels equipped with the phase shift technology emerged from hiding places inside solid asteroids, appearing like ghosts among the Kelvari fleet. On his flagship, Sunwoo watched in horror as his carefully organized formations fell into chaos. "Asteroids are moving on attack vectors," his officer shouted. "Human ships appearing within our formations. They're inside our defensive perimeter." "Impossible," Sunwoo whispered. "No one can navigate through solid matter." But the evidence was undeniable as human ships phased partially through Kelvari vessels, firing weapons directly through shields before becoming solid again and moving to new targets. Meanwhile, the massive asteroid slammed into Kelvari ships, crushing them or forcing them into the path of other oncoming space rocks. Explosives planted inside smaller asteroids detonated as they approached Kelvari vessels, creating waves of destructive force that overwhelmed shields already compromised by the human weapon frequencies. "Retreat," Sunwoo finally ordered, watching his Grand Armada disintegrate around him. "All ships, emergency jump to coordinates Beta." But the retreat order came too late for many Kelvari vessels. The carefully orchestrated trap had become a slaughter. Of the 100 ships that entered the Arcturus field, fewer than 40 managed to escape. Sunwoo's flagship limped away, heavily damaged. He stared blankly at the tactical display, showing the extent of the disaster. "How?" he asked nobody in particular. "How did they know we were coming? How did they prepare such a trap?" The answer would haunt the Kelvari leadership for years to come. They had started a war with a species far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The Imperial Palace on Kelvar Prime had never known such silence. Servants moved like ghosts through its vast halls. Guards stood frozen at their posts, eyes forward, barely breathing. None dared speak of the disaster. Emperor Tahoe sat alone in his private chamber, the message sphere replaying before him for the 12th time. The holographic image showed the wreckage of his once proud armada scattered through the Arcturus asteroid field. Kelvari ships torn apart, broken and burning. And the final report: 63 vessels destroyed, 14 captured, including High Admiral Sunwoo's flagship. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. "Enter," he called, his voice hollow. Royal Advisor Jay bowed as he entered. "Your Magnificence, we've received word from the border outposts." "More human attacks?" Tahoe asked, bracing for worse news. "No, Your Magnificence. The humans approach our territory," his advisor whispered. "Not with their full fleet, but with a diplomatic vessel requesting communication." Tahoe's eyes widened slightly. "A trick, surely." Jay extended a small data crystal. "They sent this message. For your eyes only." The Emperor placed the crystal in a reader. Admiral Jeho's face appeared, calm and respectful. "Emperor Tahoe of the Kelvari Imperium. The battle at Arcturus has demonstrated what continuing this conflict will mean for both our peoples. This war can end now. Your choice: We await your response. Tahoe stared at the message long after it ended. In 300 years of expansion, the Kelveri had never received such an offer after defeating an enemy so thoroughly. "Prepare my secure communication array," he ordered, "and summon the High Council." 3 days of heated debate followed. Many counselors demanded continuing the war, citing the shame of negotiating with an inferior species. Others, those who had reviewed the battle records more carefully, urged caution. Imperial General Kai, who had lost 2 sons at Arcturus, spoke last. "These humans defeated our best ships using rocks and tactics we've never seen. If they wanted to strike our homeworld now, we could not stop them. Yet they offer peace instead. I suggest we listen." Emperor Tahoe made his decision. "We will meet with them. Prepare a diplomatic vessel." 2 months later, in neutral space aboard a specially constructed station, Emperor Tahoe faced Admiral Jiho across a negotiation table. Both were accompanied by small delegations of advisors and security personnel. Tahoe studied the human admiral. Jiho appeared old by human standards, with gray hair and lined face, yet he carried himself with quiet strength, not the barbarian the emperor had expected. "You could have pressed your advantage," Tahoe noted after initial formalities concluded. "Why seek peace when victory was within reach?" Jiho smiled slightly. "We never wanted this war. We only wanted to be left in peace. But now you understand. Humans fight hardest when defending themselves." The negotiations lasted 7 days. The Kelveri, accustomed to dictating terms to defeated enemies, found themselves facing a species that negotiated firmly but fairly. The humans didn't demand reparations for Terminus Colony. They didn't seek Kelveri technology or territory. They wanted recognition, respect, and clear boundaries. "Your people destroyed our colony without warning or communication," Jiho explained during a private meeting with the emperor. 5,000 civilians who posed no threat to you. We could demand much more in return for that crime." "Then why don't you?" Tahoe asked, genuinely curious. "Because continuing cycles of revenge serves neither of our peoples," Jiho replied. "We've studied your culture. The Kelveri have much to offer the galaxy. We'd rather have you as neighbors than enemies." On the 7th day, the treaty was signed. It recognized human sovereignty, established clear borders between their territories, and created protocols for future contact and dispute resolution. It also included a provision for cultural and scientific exchange, a concept foreign to previous Kelveri treaties. As the Kelveri delegation prepared to depart, Imperial historian Siok approached his emperor. Siok was ancient even by Kelveri standards. His blue skin faded to pale gray with age. "Your Magnificence, may I speak freely?" he asked. Tahoe nodded. "I've been studying human history," the historian said, extending a data tablet. "It seems we made a critical error. In their thousands of years of recorded conflict, humans have rarely lost a war they didn't start themselves." Tahoe reviewed the information with growing amazement. These humans had spent their entire history fighting each other, perfecting the art of war against their own kind. Centuries of conflict that made the Kelveri conquest of nearby stars seem like minor skirmishes. They turned similar worlds into battlegrounds called Europe and Asia. Siok continued. They fought over resources, ideology, religion, sometimes just for pride. And through it all, one pattern emerges. Those who start wars against humans typically regret it. Tahoe looked across the station's main hall, where the human representatives were preparing to board their ship. Such an unassuming species, physically weaker than Kelveri, shorter-lived, with less advanced technology. Yet in mere weeks, they had adapted to Kelveri systems, developed countermeasures, and defeated the Imperial fleet. "Congratulations," he murmured under his breath. "We started a war with precisely the wrong species." 6 months later, the first human cultural delegation arrived on Kelvar Prime. Among them was Dr. Hae-Jin Park, who had survived the attack on Terminus Colony by taking shelter in a reinforced research bunker. When she met Emperor Taiho at the formal reception, she offered him a small earth plant called an olive branch. On our world, she explained, this symbolizes peace after conflict. The Emperor accepted it carefully. Your people are surprising, Dr. Park. You negotiate like diplomats but fight like demons. The Jinn smiled. We've had much practice at both, Your Magnificence. Let's hope we need only the first skill in our future relations. The olive plant was placed in the imperial garden, where it grew into a tree that stood for centuries as a reminder of the war that changed the Kelveri forever.